Hi everybody, it's me, Beth Maitland, the Drama Queen Bee. I'm here today with a little binding tutorial. I want to show you, although there have been some demos already on my channel and on other places on the internet about how to put on half-fold binding, I wanted to deal with turning a corner and finishing off the binding strip. I always use a 2.5-inch strip. I fold it in half. I don't go to the trouble, like many people do, of pressing everything. I try to just sort of feed it all along as I go, and I find that I can just finger press my areas where I need to have it be pressed tighter. I sew along a 1/4-inch seam to the edge of my quilt. When I get to the corner, I stop sewing about 1/4-inch before the end of that straight line of sewing. I stop there. Then I use my reverse button and I back up a little bit, and then I put my foot back down to hold all the fabric in place while I work out the corner. I finger press with my fingernail just a couple of inches. That's all I will need to turn the corner. I make my first fold and then my second fold, and I make sure that that fold lines up perfectly with the outer edge of that binding, because look at this flap. This is exactly what we want for a perfect mitered edge when we turn everything over and finish off the top stitching side of our binding strip. And then I start again about 1/4-inch from that outside edge from my folded over binding strip and leave that 1/4-inch unsewn. It's going to all be taken care of when we do the binding on the outside. Now, I'm close to the end of my stitching. This is where I started, and this flap is what I left loose to be able to do my finishing on my binding strip. Now I just cut off what's left over, that extra tail, and I fold that binding strip underneath and into itself, inside that tube, about maybe 1/2 inch. And I make sure that my edges meet. I make sure that my fold is flat, and I take that tail and I tuck it inside that tube. And I want to bury everything, but I want to also be really conscientious about any fabric buildup and extra little folds and bungles inside. I don't want that to be bunchy and built up. So I often will take a straight pin, a pencil, and awl, some kind of a little tool. A straight pin works fine. And I make sure that all of those folds are laying flat and all of those edges are meeting equally, and the fold is correct. And then I go ahead and finish by continuing my 1/4-inch seam down that line of the quilt. I sew over the edge, and then I back up again, and I like to just do a little backup stitch to just hold everything down, all those loose edges. I go forward again for just another inch or so, and then I'm done. Now we'll see the other side of this demo in binding number 2. Join me in just a few moments. It's Beth Maitland, the Drama Queen Bee.